I'm feeling some sort of way, though. Looking all kinds of fresh, she licking all kinds of lips. Better not play with cash, I'm pulling up kinda threatening.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to What Do You Bring to Your Table? I am your host, none other than Tubbs, Mateli Tubbies, and I'm never alone. I've got an actor, creative director for drama tech. We've got a musician and an urban ninja, none other than Anelisa Phewa. Grootman, how are you doing today?
Hey man, I'm alright man, how you doing?
I'm good. You know what? I genuinely thought that you were closer. I genuinely thought you were closer. You spoke closer on Montana, Mosne, and Itemba. The way you closer sat within you, I believed that you were closer. So when the first time I met you, that it is closer now, only to find out this man is Zulu, all the way from KwaZulu Natal. So how's that all the way, the journey, KwaZulu, how it was growing up and everything?
Well, so biologically speaking, my mother's Xhosa, my dad is Zulu. But I did grow up in Durban, and I was exposed to Xhosa every time we'd go to the Eastern Cape. Visit my mom, and my mom would just switch it up, and next thing she's speaking Xhosa, and it's just like this song, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I only actually started really getting into Xhosa in high school.
Let it creak. That's what you were watching for.
So high school I started learning Xhosa for a little bit, just try to interact with the guys and the girls. Then I went to UCT, and it was the language that was there the whole time.
Yeah, Cape Town.
But I actually started acting in Xhosa when an opportunity came up, and they said, "We like you, but can you speak Xhosa?" And I was like, "If it's written down, I'll learn it."
What gig was this?
This was Divers Down. It was my first TV gig, also my first Xhosa role, and it was written down over there, and I had coaching and whatever, and that's all it is, you know. It's written down, and you read it, and you learn it, and you be it.
Nah.
It's like acting.
That's what we are. So you started in 1993, if I'm correct, if I'm not mistaken.
No, in 1993, that was when I decided to be an actor.
Oh, you decided in 1993.
I was 10. I had already had 6 years experience.
6 years experience in what?
In acting.
What projects were you doing back then?
No, it was... so the very first project that I did, I was 4. It was the nativity play in primary school.
Everyone did that. I also done the nativity play, I was the sheep.
I still remember my lines.
You still remember your lines?
Yeah.
I didn't even have lines on that day. I was just the sheep sitting there being all cute and just laying there.
It was... So yeah, I started getting involved in those processes formally, so to speak, in that every year after that I did a show. I was always involved in that. By the time I was 10 years old, I could put it up on the line to say, this is something that I can do. I've been doing this. I know how to do it. I enjoy it. And it has an unfolding, so to speak. You can see its results, the through line, television, you know what I mean, theater and all of that. As a kid, you're already watching shows and all of that. So it felt like a very sound decision to my 10-year-old self who had already had 6 years experience.
You know?
Yeah, I was playing in school plays and all of that stuff as well. So you were really competing and doing your best.
At that age already?
Yeah.
Was it a point where you become like a child star? You were famous? All people know you as that kid who was on that show?
I was always a child star. But that was my thing. That was my own thing. Kids are fearless, sort of, sometimes. And it takes a little bit of belief, particularly back then, you know, like as a kid. Grandma's wrong over there. Particularly back then when you are a kid. Fearlessness is just a thought away, you know, and sometimes you need to think of yourself as a little further than what you actually are for you to be what you actually are.
That is so true.
Do you know what I'm saying?
That is so true.
I am a star, and therefore you project and you shine, and people are like, wow, you look like a star.
Yeah, speak it into existence.
Well, I mean, at least try it out.
Yeah.
You know, so, yeah, I was confident. Because I could do a lot.
And what?
I could do a lot. I could do a lot of things. All of the things were the same thing. And that's how I came
Just
to understand.
Just variations of it all.
Yeah, because essentially the only thing that stays the same is you. Your experience shape and change you, but you stay the same. in terms of your frame of reference, you can always say, I think that, or I felt that, or I was this or that. You're always referring to yourself cognitively. So you have a memory and a sense of yourself. And any other thing that comes with you along the way are the crafted experiences that you can take with you. But you have to understand yourself to take a crafted experience with you across time. You think about talent.
Yes.
Right? You have the talent for understanding, but you can understand different things, from a mathematical to a geographical to a social to a spiritual to a psychosomatic, you know?
Yes, sir.
Same intelligence, the same way you feel on your knees, the same way you feel on your back, but those are different experiences.
Hands, but they all feel different, but it's all coined into that feeling.
Understood by the same self.
Yeah.
Right? So when that self is confident and recognizes self as further than what self actually is, you manifest an art space. And as a child, that's a wonderful thing to have because it reflects confidence and it reflects across from the sports field to the social life to, you know what I mean? It
Yes.
creates a healthy balance because
What you're saying right now is making me think how as a young kid I actually manifested that I was going to be a star. Because I remember in 10th grade, man, I always wanted to be an actor from the days of Sarafina and Lion King. But I remember in 10th grade, I told this girl that I'm going to be on Generations one day. Watch this space. And I did it. And that's what kickstarted my career. So I understand what you're saying.
it's that belief. It's a self
belief.
you project. Because I mean, we're only ever here in the present and we can't prove a future or a past really. I mean, past
We
whatever.
can prove the past, but
Sure.
we can't change it.
Right?
Yes.
But also separate from it. How far is yesterday from here?
24 hours.
Well, just in terms of feeling, can you feel the difference between today and yesterday?
I definitely can.
You can. You can.
Yes.
What's the difference between yesterday and today, and therefore tomorrow, in the physical fabric of your existence? Okay. Okay. Okay.
Got me thinking.
It's like saying, how many breaths have you breathed today?
You can't count it.
Is the thing. You can't separate it.
That was
Like
15.
yesterday is a breath away, right? It's a construct that we are living within. So you have to convince yourself of certain outcomes. Because how do we do this? How do you acquire language? Right? There's a process that's deeper than our own understanding that we sink into, like breathing. You look at the very different ways that we breathe in life and we don't think about it. Speaking is breath.
Yes.
Shaping and cutting of sound to create meaning across space so that we may feel some type of way about our own experience and the world for a limited time before we call it. And it's not our choice to call it unless we do. But yeah, so a confident kid is a kid that can manifest a difference in their future, which then brings us to upbringing and nurturing and all of that stuff. But as the child star, in my own perception, I could craft a line where I could see myself in 10 years' time, in 15 years' time, in 20 years' time, because there was a projection, right? I'm still in drama. I've got 35 years of dramatic experience.
It's a lot.
I'm 39, right? Because I started acting when I was 4.
Yes, sir.
So I've traveled the whole journey, and I needed that confidence, and that confidence manifests in different ways because I'm projecting an inside feeling outward to an audience that is individual and varied about something that I do not have the control over. It requires confidence and a belief.
That you can do it.
And an acceptance from you. He's going to do it. Because if he doesn't,
It's not going to happen.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You check. So the through line of having chosen my career in 1993, logically, because then I needed to do something about it. My parents were like, all right, cool. Then we're going to put you in a specialist school where you can do that stuff.
Yeah.
So then-
facilitated everything. for
Exactly.
you.
Then I had an introduction to academic dramatic education.
Yes.
Right? You're writing about it now. You're writing tests. You're doing theme programs, and you're competing on a national scale. On the physicality of the poetry, the technicality of the words, the breath, the meaning, the enjambment lines. I remember when the first time I heard that, I was on Standard 9. What's Standard 9? Standard 9.
Standard
now.
9. What's Standard 9, guys?
Grade
Grade 11.
That's
Yeah,
right.
grade 11. For y'all who don't know.
Yeah, geez. I mean, I accept it now. We even speak different.
Yes.
But yeah, enjambment line, that in the physicality of the poetry, it's a line that when it gets to the end of the sentence, it runs on because it hasn't broken meaning. I can't really think of an example right now. What would it be? If we must die, let it not. If we must die, let it not be like hogs hunted and penned in inglorious spot, while round us bark the mad and hungry dogs, making their mark at our cursed lot. That flow is an enjamming of those lines. Now, I'm not sure necessarily whether, I spoke it all in one breath, therefore forcing the enjambment on lines that aren't necessarily enjammed, but for a reference without text, I can use that as a device just to decode or to perform or to place into a context of, to a dramatic context, you know what I mean? So I learned that in grade 8. Not grade 11, as we said. Yeah, and it's just a context. So there's a difference between my 18-year-old self to my 4-year-old self to my 10-year-old self, but all of those selves had in common with that thing we were talking about earlier, the self. The self that says, I am this, and then the self-reflection, I am this because of these things that I have done and that I can still do.
Yeah.
Right? If I could no longer use the nunchucks tomorrow, that's a loss. That's something I can no longer do. But if I interact with it today and in 10 years' time, that's a friend that has traveled with me in understanding, in physicality, in wear and tear, across time to define my own body and understanding, but also to be a part of a martial circle that passes from person to person to person. The energy that I transfer onto those chucks in my lifetime, when they are being used by my daughter and my grandson and my, that line, that energy accumulates.
Yeah.
Lineage. And art opens us up to those spaces of thought, really, Because according to the timeline, grade 11, then I went to varsity. Varsity, I learned...
You skip grade 12? I'm kidding.
No, I did well in grade 12, I was just jumping.
Yeah.
Theme programs and all that stuff. You go to varsity, you learn everything that you learn, and then you start again in the professional industry. You're 22. 22, I started playing in Xhosa.
Yeah.
Xhosa was a social exercise for me. I wanted to get the honeys. Hi.
Wow. And it worked. It worked.
Yo, okay, sharp. Yeah,
yo. This is Xhosa.
Ekalogo is Xhosa. And I learned it, and that was the thing. But then the turning point came for me, it became a bankable thing. The language became a bankable thing because it gave me access to a community, to a way of thought, to a culture, but also to a bank book, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can get paid from this thing.
Yeah.
Right? And
Yes,
not this
sir.
thing as a thing, but as a frequency. If I tap into this frequency, I can study it and carry it with me as a friend over time, as I've been doing with all of my other skills. Right?
I see. Out of, judging from what you're saying, you've worked like a lot of gigs. I've written them down, all of them.
All of them.
All of them, I've written it down. No particular order, no year in which ever and how, but this is how it goes. So it's Generations,
Okay.
Urbo, The Adventures of Pax Africa,
Okay.
The World Unseen,
Ooh.
More Than Just the Game, Divers Down, Montana, Darfur, Temba, Shreds and Dreams, Stockfella, Stogie, and then Seven Delan.
What? What is the song?
Don't you know from Stockfell? Stockfella,
Oh.
Stogie, ooh. I don't know how the song goes. And then Seven Delan, Leonardo, Ingoma, Abomzala, Harvest, Unmarried, Sugar, Itemba, The Queen, and Brave Ones.
And you still left some out.
That's what I'm saying. I left a lot out, but I listed everything.
That's quite a list.
That is quite a list. Out of all of these, like, which one was your favorite set? Which one was like the entire experience? Which one was your favorite?
Oh man, you can't have favorites because all of them happened at different times with different levels of experience. So my first gig was revelatory in that it was my first gig.
Yeah.
Right? I'm playing in film. I've just graduated from varsity. I've done this theater and film component. So there's an insecurity in terms of we're very good at theater by the time you're fourth year. But you're introduced to film in third year. So you've only got 2 years of experience. So your confidence wavers. And now You only have this 1 year to either write a research paper, to do all of the productions, and then to do a film project as well. Isn't really much time to do too much. And then you get out within the first year, you're doing your first film gig as a lead.
Ooh.
Right?
Big boy things.
Listen. And also, the idea of playing with stars and seeing the treatment. So we were shooting in Simonstown in Cape Town, Divers Down. It was Edit Cafe. It was beautiful. So I stayed in Cape Town, but I had another gig. I was doing Urbo at the time. And I used to work Urbo once a week, but on Fridays. So we had a little bit of a clash where they allowed everybody to work Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Well, Thursday. Then we'd take Thursday as a Saturday. Then I would, Thursday evening, go back home, get up, do the whole thing. You know what I mean? It was a weird week, but I was able to do both those gigs. But firstly, so that was scheduling and negotiation with that, just to see the people make things happen and what availability means. Because we don't know what that means. You just think, I'm available all the time. Sometimes
all the time.
You're not, especially if you're not in control of your own schedule. We don't think about those things because they're not there. Like scheduling, how are you not on any production, or how are you managing your schedule effectively? Because your schedule reflects your cash flow, or argue. If you are meeting with 7 people a day, but you're losing money at every encounter, every day, that's not, I don't want to be there.
There's no benefit from that.
You know what I'm saying? Like especially for us growing up now, being older, you start to create channels of security for yourself. I see you rocking my drama tech.
We were there when it started. We were there when it all started.
Yeah, man, that's dope. And it's exactly that thing,
And Dramatech, tell us, what's the entire concept, the idea behind Dramatech?
It's exactly this thing we're talking about, okay? So it's saying I've been around in the industry in a specific role for a long time. But as I grow older over this time, if I go tomorrow, I haven't shared anything with anybody, what's the point? Then my skill wasn't a skill, it was a gift to be enjoyed and discarded.
Just like that.
Right? It's like eating a fruit. Whereas if you take the seeds and you plant them, then we have more apples.
Yeah.
So that's what it's about, really. It's to say, hey, man, I've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing it since I was 4. I don't know how many other people have been doing it as long as I have who are my age. But
I'm sure.
I'm still hip enough to talk about it. From a technical point of view, from a how do you do this thing? If I were to define hard edges about drama, what would they be? Right? You've got these 2 faces of happy and sadness, but then you've got all of this color, the spectrum between the places, between happiness, sadness, sorrow, all of that. But then as a vehicle for us as actors to tech up and become the technical superheroes that we need ourselves to be for our industry and for ourselves. But it goes beyond just being technicians. It goes to the human being. You know what I mean? You ever thought about Superman having a cold?
No. But on Krypton, he probably could.
Yeah. But the idea is that you take care of yourself. Yes. So the idea of Dramatech being here is that you are your own superhero, but you must take care of yourself. And then there are various ways to take care of yourself, from knowing about scheduling.
Yeah.
Scheduling, money. If I have to travel to a place, what's the return on my time? Because I'm not just an actor. You know what I mean? Yes, as an actor, I will look at the difference between self and character. I will look at the difference between text analysis and scene study. I'll look at the relationship between voice and emotion, and I'll have the technical drills to put it together so that when I get there, I don't have a flat tire and I don't fluff and,
Yes, an actor prepares.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Prepares.
From what books to read to what hacks to do to S&T, sustenance and travel. When you are on a show, like on that one, we were given per diems, money for the day to eat per day, excluding our day fee for the thing, which is not paid weekly but paid monthly, because of the global contract that we're in. Say, I want to be an actor because I got the passion for it. I'm like, it's cool, but you need a lot more than just passion for it. You need organizational skills, you need discipline, you need sweat, you need creative capital. Within your own sphere, you need to be fearless.
Yes.
Everything that I've put the mask on the chest for helps you. You don't see Batman crying over
why Joker actually killed,
Yeah.
It's bang bang.
So it's
He takes up the mantle and takes action.
so that's what Dramatech is about in a creative sort of nutshell. But in
Yes.
terms of the physicality of space, we're a service where we offer online consultations
Yes.
to talk about the theory and just the
I
dramatic-
appreciate those late calls you would take from me on set when I need help, when I'm about to perform, and I'm like, I would be struggling with this particular scene, and especially Goodman, because I know where my weakness is, and that would be crying, and you essentially helped me with that.
give you a technical.
A technical way, not to feel, but just how to activate your body so that it can create tears in your eye. And then the emotion is after that.
Give all the secrets away.
I'm not giving the secrets. You got to pay for those secrets, y'all. Y'all got to pay for those secrets.
No, but I mean, I enjoy that because essentially what we were exploring over there was a way in. The scene requires a physicality.
Yes.
And my argument over there was you don't have to hurt yourself to give to the scene. Okay, I've seen this where people will go back and they'll redig the past traumas to produce a result for a fleeting moment. Yes, we capture it and the raw pain, and thank you for sharing that truth with us. But when we call cut, that truth is still manifesting. It's going to visit you in your dreams. It's going to mess up your tomorrow and the tomorrow after that. Do you know what I mean? And if you're constantly deeping into that source, you're not going to be okay. They have to be physical. The electrician doesn't electrocute himself every time he changes your plugs or whatever it is he does.
Yeah.
He can preserve himself and do his gig. Why shouldn't you? Right? And we are saying there are technical ways to do this, right? From a physiological way of not blinking to induce a tear. You know what I mean? But if you can't back it up with the rest of the story...
Don't share too much. They got to pay for this.
No, I'm just saying. You know what I mean? Like everybody
Yeah.
knows that thing. Even if you can just produce the physicality of the thing, the story is on the inside. And that's where the point of negotiation is, because I've been doing it for a long time, but I want to hear what you think of it and what your experience is and how do you do it. Let's share it, because then we are creating a legacy, not around me, but around our industry. Because what I say to you, you can say to your friend, and your friend can say to this one who has said to me.
Yes.
I don't create the industry, I'm part of it, but I know what it needs. And I'm tired of waiting for people to say, this, that, right? So we've partnered up with UJ. We're going to be teaching there.
Dramatech and UJ together.
Yeah, we're going to be
sir.
teaching there in partnership. You know, we're going to be using our spaces, the spaces over there. We are in partnership, we're in collaboration to say, when you are looking for us, this is where you will find us, because this quality control is what we are doing. We are taking our art and we're giving it edges, and we're saying we can preserve it and hand it over at a price.
Always. 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 So, I love to ask this question. Like, what's the one story that you feel like is missing that's being told in South Africa? Or it's a story that has been told but needs to be told more often?
Ooh, I'm going to be completely biased over here.
B.
Yeah.
It's about you today.
It's not that it's a story it is a story that is missing.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to take this moment to tell you a little bit about urban ninja myths.
Yes.
Urban ninja myths.
Urban ninja myths.
Yeah. Yeah. So, as a martial artist, I lament that I haven't had an opportunity to display my martial arts prowess on screen.
Yes.
It's something that I do. I'm an artist first, and that reflects in my personality, or my personality reflects that I'm an artist, right? It's the same sort of...
That's what I got the first day I met you. I was like, yeah, no, you actually standard. Just the way you move. I was like, no, this is definitely an artist.
Yeah.
There's just something about us that is different from, I wouldn't like to call them normal people, but there's just something about us that differentiates from other people. And I could see that the first day I met you. I was like, yeah, no.
Look, I can only speak for myself. I can only speak for myself.
Yeah.
You know? But what was I going to say about that?
Urban ninja.
Urban ninja, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
stories that are missing. So for me, again, with Dramatech, I'm a martial artist, and I want to be I want to see martial arts on South African television, but also I have a story that I want to tell. You know what I mean? And the basic premise of it, really, this is what we call a log line. These are other things that we have to learn. And a log line really is your movie in a sentence. We can't steal it. I've already done all the work. But I can give it to you if you're a producer or an audience over here. Like, all right, cool, dog. Tell us a little bit about your show, right? I can give you the story in a sentence.
Yes.
Urban ninja myths. After escaping from the grid, a young ninja must find allies in the shadows to go back and save his love.
Bodum.
Right? Now we can talk about stylistically what's happening, but it's a love story.
Yes.
And it's a martial arts love story because he's a ninja. And he is escaping somewhere and he must go somewhere else. And we call this somewhere else the shadows. To find allies in the shadows, to go back. He escaped the place that he has to go back to. There's already a tension there just by virtue of the fact that, you know, my objective is on the other side. And that's what I must get to, right? And then it sort of continues from there. It's magic realism, it's martial arts, it's semi-post-apocalyptic future South Africa.
Yeah.
You know.
My mentor told me something really powerful.
Your mentor? Stop me? What?
You're one of them. Trust me, you're one of them. But this is my directing mentor. He told me the stories that we want to tell and create is a reflection of the stories we grew up watching. Right? I would say I'm on par with what you're saying, that I want to tell more stories where we incorporate martial arts prowess. Why? Because I grew up watching Kung Fu films. I grew up watching Jackie Chan or Jet Li. And now I resonate with a lot of action films. So when you say this, it just made me think, this is actually the type of stories that we should be telling more often in South Africa.
But also, actors are athletes.
Yes.
Right.
I look at you and I look at Palance. And I'm like, you guys would probably nail the martial arts spectrum if we decide to go into the martial arts realm of telling stories. You and Palance will nail it.
Look, I enjoy Palance very much. He's got a grit and a power that is fascinating to watch.
Yes.
You know, so
presence is a lot of it.
Yeah, and quite the gentleman as well. So I mean, he's a bit younger than I am, so he might hurt me. But again, it's about that quality control, the choreography between the bodies. You know what I mean? What is possible between us, between you and me, between me and him, the spectrum. Do you know what I mean? 4 of our leads are ladies in the script, and they're all fighters, and they kick ass, man.
Proper.
There's one fight that is unresolved. Every season, there's one fight that is unresolved, and it's between the two heroes, the two ladies, the two heroes, because that is a philosophical question, right? I'm wondering whether I can share the philosophical question with you.
Don't. You know there's vultures out here.
Yeah, well, I mean, they are
There's
fighting over
vultures
the philosophical question of the entire series. You know, they are one of the thematic things because they will clash always, and I'm proposing something out there exponentially that it is unresolvable. It's like when an unstoppable force meets
an immovable object.
There you go.
What happens?
You
the Joker,
you
the
have
Batman.
a beautiful fight.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. And it'll be between these two ladies.
You know, it's literally making me think about that. An unstoppable force, immovable object, Captain America versus Iron Man. You've watched that fight? Oof, beautiful fight. 2 characters that us as the audience, we solely love. So we don't know who to choose within that fight. And for me, when I watched Civil War, I was at a stalemate because I don't know who to choose. It's because I'm vibing with the unstoppable force and I'm also vibing with the immovable object.
Yeah.
And when you meet an unstoppable force and immovable object, what happens? 0, it cancels out. So that's literally how I felt. I canceled out my emotions for both characters.
So investigate that space.
Yeah.
That space over there. Very, very cool things happening because it's not static, right? If you imagine them rolling over each other, finding the point of balance that is then, the dead space or the active space in between.
Yeah.
Investigate that.
Are you the urban ninja?
Yes, I am.
Yes, sir. You are. When did you coin this term?
Time is so weird. I don't know the difference between yesterday and today. I don't know. A while ago, it came into my existence. It was It was definitely induced by the whole COVID thing, because I mean I started training nunchucks in 2012 when I got to Joburg, and how that came about was I used to train Gojukai karate.
Wait, before we get to the nunchucks,
Yes.
tell us the entire beginning of the karate. Wakalimas, type beat.
It came to prominence in varsity. Anything before then really is childish sport. And I say that because I only really started achieving noticeable results. In fact, no, high school. High school, I started making provincial teams, because that's how you achieve. I mean, look, I wanted to go to the provincial tournaments because there were some people I wanted to see and some people I wanted
Please
to...
do not tell me to close women. Please do not tell me to close women, because that will be a pro.
No, look, we make friends. You know what I mean? There are people that you want to fight again.
Yes.
And there are people that you want to see again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you had to be at a certain level of technical proficiency to make it into a provincial team that will tour.
Yes.
You had to be good. Whatever your motivation was, you know what I mean?
You have to be exceptional.
Right?
Regardless.
And you start to recognize that the pool the longer you stay in it, the less of you stay in it. So the pool becomes smaller the older you get.
Yes.
Right? Which means, sure, I'm national champion, but I only fought 15 people to get there because of how
how everything is structured.
We cut each other out, but sometimes it's also the entries. You know what I mean? A black belt's fight is between maybe even 15 people. And if there are 15 of us in a pool, you know, you're gonna fight maybe 5 people. You know, if you're going to the final. You know.
So do you think that actually proves that you are a national champion?
You're a national champion of the people who were there.
Otherwise,
of the people who competed, because you're competing to see who can score this point here now. If we do it again tomorrow, it's different, and we do it again tomorrow, it's different because we're putting physical skills to the test in real time. So we're improvising around the thing that we've had years to train.
Yes,
it's a game, right? So it's not really about that thing more than it is about.
So the way I understand it, you saying today I could be national champion, tomorrow I cannot be,
because there's no such thing as national champion. It's a little game, right? But if you carry the spirit of a national champion wherever you go, then your life will have the results of a national champion in whatever it is that you do. So if you've had an opportunity to be a national champion over the multitude of years that it takes to travel between white belt and black belt and beyond, because also people think, I got the black belt, that's it. No, that's the beginning. Because if you imagine a house, your front porch to the front gate, that is your journey from white belt to black belt. When you get to black belt, you haven't even opened the door to get out. You haven't even touched the first step of the pavement of your house. You haven't even gone to the bus station. You haven't gone to your destination. You haven't missed your flight yet. You understand where you are in your journey to say in the equivalence of it, I missed my flight on my martial arts journey. Something happened there that equates to the same thing. But you test it out in the physicality of your training, but then also in your mental heart space, because that's what you are pushing your body against over time. So if I'm chasing a black belt, at the point when I step out, the journey now is from black belt back to white belt, and to do that you need to travel the world. And from a physical point of view, what do? The belt is black and you tie it on, and then you untie it and you put it away and you go back and so essentially what's going to turn this belt white is wear and tear. And you're only going to wear and tear it if you keep going to the place where you wear that belt. And over a 20-year period, you'll find it's no longer about the belt because, well, it's not about the belt, it's about the experience. But the belt is starting to vitiga. And now it's got threads and what. And oh my goodness, it's falling off. Goodness, Sensei's Shihan's belt looks white.
Yo, guys, can someone give me water? Like real quick. Just water. I am dying. Excuse me.
Bless you and sorry.
I'm back.
But there's a full circle there. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, it goes back to that question about which my favorite set is. Each is its own experience. You know what I mean? In the same way that when I started achieving provincial and national accolades, you know, you start to play a different sport. You start to work on a thing with a lot more intent because now you got stakes. But there's also a social, cultural perspective as well. You know what I mean? I know on Tuesdays and Thursdays I'm training with the black belts. Mondays and Wednesdays.
Whoa, it's killing me. Where's the water, guys? Yo.
Sorry,
Sakwa
man.
ngamate, guys. Yo, come on. Yo.
You think you're gonna sit in front of the Urban Ninja and talk this much with us? I talk for a living.
Why are you this person?
I get paid to talk. Imagine we're on stage.
Yo, imagine.
Use your tears.
You know. Wow.
I'm just teasing.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Lovely stuff. Yeah, journey, everything.
So where I was going with that whole thing was the Urban Ninja, because that was the trace where you were coming from. So you asked for a little bit of a history, and that was that. Cool. I would say high school to about 2012. That was pivotal because that's where I lived the journey, met my friends, all of that. But when I came to Joburg for work, I was doing 7 Land back then. I no longer had a leg to train. You know, everything else was too far. So instead of stopping, I took the concept as a baby black belt who has just stepped onto the outside, you know, and then I got disconnected from that source. I took the concept of what I understood and I said, if I were to take this understanding of my martial experience and I transfer it the same way I've been transferring my dramatic energy into my martial energy, into my musical energy, into my swimming energy, into my sport energy, it's the same thing. Yes. I am just changing character for the situation. Again, the same way you do for film and theater, because the context, the words give you that, but the sport, water says adapt to this. The same way track says adapt to this, and there are different rhythms that you align yourself with to become these things. You are the one thing that continuously changes according to the thing that it is doing. Think about breathing. When you're sleeping, you are in your deep breath cycle. Versus when you're meditating, you're in a different kind of deep breath cycle. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To when you are swimming long distance, again, another deep but active long breath cycle. Right?
Yes, sir.
So the concept changes, and therefore for me, as an artist, recognizing that this is that and that is this, therefore nothing actually exists, let me put this existence into my own sphere and see if it works.
Yeah.
It's a bit crazy, but you know, it's fun.
I remember you told me the most interesting thing, that it was more of a mind beep for me. Yeah, it was a mind beep. It was when you told me words are not real.
Yes, they're not.
They're not real. You told me that words are just a group of sounds that we as human beings have agreed that mean something. Like, wow. Because how do you think we make fun of cavemen back in the day? We go, ooga booga, hooga, 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 hooga. How do you think some people mock Xhosa when they don't understand it? They just hit us with the clicks, but we know exactly what we say.
But I mean, that's just a reflection on, again, the agreement, but also on the selves that mock. Because, well, what is mocking in the first place? Just to conjure up that energy within my sphere, what am I doing? If I were pushing, am I pushing up or am I pushing down? And why am I pushing up or pushing down? What is my intent? What do I want to do? And why do I want to do that in this way here?
Yes.
What's wrong? Okay. If I take care of my own heart and I grow up, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Maybe one day I will not mock. But until then, that's a reflection of what I do. Right? And then you can measure within that time frame. Well, you can measure within that time frame.
Yeah.
Let's leave it there.
It's that
Right.
time of the show right now.
But in terms of agreement now, what I argue over there is that you look at a baby. Babies are neutral, so that's fun. baby born in China will end up adopting Chinese. I say adopting because it's not a natural thing. The same way Xhosa or Zulu or any other language aren't really real things. But we are playing within a matrix where things are real and not real at the same time, so we can have a little bit of fun. Okay? So a baby is born neutral. You know, you look at the race thing. Black baby born in China learns the social etiquette that you need to survive. You are taught all the sounds that link the feeling, the true being, to the intellectual being. And the intellectual being needs community to survive according to our construct. So we make agreements, we create barter systems. Hey, I'll give you this, I'll give you that. I'm hungry, you are hungry. So we understand each other, and we understand each other over time. So we commit to ourselves as a community for our survival. And therefore, we hardwire ourselves to accept and to learn and to be reared. And we do that. That's what societies are. I am hungry is a feeling first. Then I communicate it. Now that's a different agreement that reflects a different group of cultural individuals that have decided that come from a certain place. Because also language comes, it is directly involved or reflects your environment.
Yes.
It's hot in Australia. The sun beats at you.
Yeah.
It's bright. It's just as a thing.
Good day, mate.
So you start to understand just from a physiological placement. And it's a different kind of hot in Texas. It kind of draw.
I've been riding around in my Range Rover,
but you check this out.
you know, but it's a different kind of heat.
You check what I'm saying?
I hear you.
Versus every other, I mean, we can look into...
That is actually, yes. I know what you mean. Accent study. Because when I talk like a colored, there's a certain way my face changes.
You change your placement, the physical structure to create...
Also, it speaks on a different side as compared to, you know, like, let's go play some rugby on this weekend, you know, type of thing. Whatever we can do. You want to pass the ball? You know, I've been hitting the gym. I've been, you know, squats, 200. There's that. What you just showed me is I'm taking it as whenever I do go into different accents, my face does. There's a physical change.
There's a mask.
Yeah.
Because it's a technical way in. Like we say, you know, the words already change the micro spaces in your mouth. You know, I mean, depending on the complexity of the writing. If I have to say something like, cousins indeed, and by their uncle cozened, of comfort, kingdom, kinship, freedom, life. That is a complex structure as opposed to, it's more complex than I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er vales and hills when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. Requires a different mask. Yes. But I can put it on. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er vales and hills when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils.
Yeah.
Right? I've taken the words and I've added a characterization technique to it. I chose a voice, I chose a texture, I chose placement and all of those. I chose a home country, I chose a source of reference, a world that this person comes from. Puts on a physical mask, an emotional mask, a template that we can therefore negotiate this socio-political context for the purposes of the drama and our entertainment and our learning and our skill preservation.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
I don't know
sir.
what we're talking about, but we can keep going.
We can keep going. But it's that time, it's literally that time of the show.
Cool.
It's, what do you bring to the table?
Oh, wow.
What do you bring to the table?
Oh, man, I tell you what, I like this topic of quality control.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we talk about it enough, particularly as artists, you know, because it stays within the same realm of reference for me in that we're talking about people, experiences, and doing. We're talking about action, really. I mean, I think it's quite poetic as two actors, we sit opposite each other and we're talking about action, dramatic action, but also the components that bring that action together, you know, because we always look at the end result of a drama, particularly, specifically speaking, but we align ourselves with the end result the picture. I want to be that. You see the manifesting of life on screen and you say, look at how passionate they are. I am passionate about that. Your passion has been invoked because you are seeing a reflection of life, right? But that is not passion. That has been technically placed and laser cut and modified and
To give you that
softened
feeling
to
of
give you-
passion.
it is an art form.
Yes.
And it is never complete, as they say, right? You are seeing a fleeting moment that reflects. So poetry, the difference
moment in
between,
time.
yes, the difference between poetry and prose, if we look at text, prose is what you would argue is your everyday speech, unmetered, as it were, versus verse, which is then rhythmic. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er vales and hills when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. That fits into a...
Yeah.
It's got a
Staccato.
metric feel. And what was I going to say about these two? Oh, yes, it can take... In poetry is condensed prose. Do you know what I mean? You can unfold poetry. So you can have condensed, 14 lines which reflect an entire spectrum of things, right? Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds to shake the darling buds of May and summer's lease a thought too short to date. What are you saying? I'm comparing your entire existence to one singular summer's day, but how many components can you find within a summer's day? One that is beautiful. And you are more temperate than it because you have more colors than just the physical textures of sunlight, wind, breeze. You know what I mean? You have more complexity, as the poet argues. But he puts it within this 14-line structure as opposed to writing an entire novel about it. And you can, right? But poetry is simplified prose. Can't remember really what the point of that was. But we were talking about what you bring to the table and quality control. And understanding.
How would you define quality control in the human being sense? Because quality control is usually like you just check your items, everything is working. But I remember our conversation, it's like quality control as just a being, as who you are.
Well, I mean, again, the different kinds of quality control. So if we are arguing from a dramatic point of view, we are looking at health, wellness, and lifestyle.
Yes.
Which are things, again, that we don't talk about as actors because we show the reflective that is the bling life, the soft life, when it is that. And for the great majority of us, it's not.
It's not.
We are all
There's a very
trying
small
to
portion
manifest
of people that
thing.
are at that level.
Right.
And they assume that that's the whole market.
So then there's an underground life that we are living as actors.
Yes.
And that underground life is what we used to live as. We were creatives. We were part of traveling troops, we did the things that we made our own clothes and all of those things. That's where the personal style of the artist comes from. Your sewing style is different to mine. It becomes my swag over years.
Yeah.
But initially, who else is going to do it for me? I'm fixing my own makeup, my own things, whatever, do you know what I mean? And then along the way, we lost that. And then we started telling the story of the actor living as an actor as opposed to being an actor and living
as a human
life,
being. Oh, yeah.
right? So then you're already not taking care of yourself.
I think that's where I differentiate from. I'm an actor, but I don't live the actor's lifestyle that people assume that, it's bling bling all the thing. Because for me, being an actor is after who I am. Because being an actor doesn't define the person that I am. And I feel like there's a lot of actors who confuse that. They make their personality their job. That's why I feel like there's a lot of divas. There's a lot of people with a lot of egos who have bad attitudes at work environment because they lead that I'm an actor and so I'm going to live and be the personality of an actor. I've experienced that and it's not beautiful to watch sometimes.
No, I mean, look, everybody goes through the thing that they go through. And then you project the things that you need to project to the world to feel safer in the world, And the decisions that we make that manifest in the world to affect other people just reflect really the way we are and what we are going through. Whether we have handled it appropriately or not, the pictures that we perceive are the pictures that we perceive, So if I feel safer in the world presenting a confident, outspoken, stern, diva-type personality, if I'm projecting that as my own mask of self, I guess that reflects me there, but it's not complete, it's not done. You know, I encourage people actors particularly, to look into their mental health. Therapy is good.
Yes.
We need therapy. We need it. We need friends. We need to communicate the stuff that we go through. We need more conversation platforms like this.
Yes.
We're planning roundtables to talk about these things. Finance,
Yeah.
you know, depression. So quality control is saying, let me take care of myself. If I were a firm, you know, what would I do for my employees who are actors? Make sure that they eat, they get fed,
The exercise.
they exercise, if I could provide all of those things for my people, I would. And right now, I can't force my employees to do that, but I can provide a service for people to do that, who want to come. You want to do a vocal warm-up? Come through. You want to do a physical warm-up? Come through. You want to improvise and learn technical things? Come through. We specialize. You want to be seen by yourself, investigate your own journey? Come through, because that's the space. It's there for that. But we're not going to wait. We're not going to wait for you to come through. We're going to do our own things. We're writing our scripts. We're finding clients. We're working in the educational space. We're working with Curo Schools Group. We're working with Wits. We're working with UJ, you know what I mean, to keep the lights on, to fulfill our purpose. Because yes, we are here for you, but we don't need you to make the impact that we are going to. You can sit there and watch it, or you can pick up a shovel and
help us out.
work with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we value our work so much, you know, so that's what we do. And I mean, you know, you're a drama technician.
Yes, sir. I am. It's just been a minute. Man's been busy, eh?
That's good. That's
These
what
sets
it's
have me by the left and right.
Professional practice. I dig it. Yeah.
And I thought about it. What would I bring to the table? And it's kind of depressing in a way, but it's that birthday depression. That birthday depression that, because I saw a tweet the other day. I think it was 2 days ago. It read, "Why is it that a lot of men, when it's around their birthday, they just feel a wave of sadness and depression?" And I read the tweet and I asked myself, wow, that's something I resonate with, because every time it's around the 20th of May,
Hey.
the week before, I just feel, I don't know, I just feel empty. Like a sense of emptiness. And I never know why. It's a thing of, I don't want to plan my birthday party. I don't want to do anything for my birthday party. It's just a normal day. And I think the way that I think about it, why it happens now, because I actually sat myself down and asked myself, why is it that every year when your birthday comes, you feel a wave of sadness? And I think I know why. It's because I lost my friend who, in 2018, he went to the mountain, didn't come back. So as growing up, every year when it was our birthdays, the week of my birthday, he would be at my house, or we would be celebrating. When it was his birthday, which was in December, which was perfect, it's summer holidays, I would be at his house the whole summer or the whole day or whatever. We'd always celebrate our birthdays in that manner. But then as growing up, the more I grew up, he passed away. And then it got to that point of, I don't have that special person who made my birthday feel like the most important day in the world. Yes, I had other groups of friends, but whenever it was my birthday, they didn't show up in the manner that I expected to. Because when it was their birthdays, I always showed up for them. You know, I'd pull through. I had this one friend who, growing up, every year, we same star sign, same birthday month, same everything. I would be at his house. I would be, you know, chilling with him, wishing happy birthday, checking how he is and everything. But when it was my birthday, even growing up, he would never do that. Never. At all. So as we grew older, we became, now we students, we varsity students. I think where it really kicked in hard, where I never wanted to celebrate my birthday, was on my crowned birthday. I remember it was a very sad night. So it was my crowned birthday, 20th of May, I'm turning 20. It was the first time my parents were like, you guys can actually throw a house party now. Like a proper house party. And I was so excited. I was like, yeah, shame, man. My friend, he couldn't make it because he's upstairs. So I invited the squad of friends, like, because I don't have a lot of friends. It was literally my only group of friends. I invited them all out to my birthday, my crown birthday party. None of them pitched. The only people that were at my party were all my brother's friends. And there was like over 20 of them.
Jeez.
So then I was like, from that day, I was like, oh, so my birthday doesn't really mean that much to people. It's not that big of a thing. And then on my 21st birthday, then we got struck with COVID. And I was in an environment that was not conducive for my mental health.
What are you saying here? 2020, you were...
2019 was my crown birthday.
Oh.
2020
Yeah, you're a young man.
was the 21st. I am a young man. I'm a very young man.
Okay, yeah.
2020 was COVID. I was in an environment I didn't want to be. It was not good for my mental health. I was away from my family. And I didn't have the 21st celebration. It was celebrated on Christmas, my 21st.
Jeez.
And I was like, yeah, I appreciate the effort that my parents made and done and everything. But it just doesn't feel like when it's Tablethao's birthday, it's not that big of a thing. And then on my 22nd birthday, still in that whole thing of, yeah, I don't really want to celebrate my birthday, but hey, let's just give it one more shot, right? Let's give it one more shot. Booked out a guest house, invited a few of my friends, my brother, his girlfriend, and a cousin, my late friend Tapelo, William, and the squad of friends who didn't pitch up to my crown birthday. They came through, but you know when you can read the energies, like these people don't want to be here. It's like they're being forced to be here. It was that type of thing. So for 3 consecutive years, I experienced that my birthday is not that meaningful to people, you know? And no one gives you that kind of love when it's your birthday. So for me, I took it as, oh, it's my birthday. This is the only day where people are going to show you love. And I feel like it's phony. Because me, I choose to show people love on random days. Randomly in the week, I'll call my mom. Like, hey, mama, what? I love you. Bye. Type of thing. So when it's my birthday and people do that, I know you're not doing it because it's out of your heart. You're doing it because it's my birthday and it's a day where people say nice things to you. And that's how every time it is my birthday, I feel that wave of sadness, like people are not being real on this day. Some of them didn't actually remember that it was your birthday. They just got a Facebook notification. And you see this friend who never pulled up to my house when it was my birthday over so many years, said the same rehearsed speech from the previous years on my birthday. I would call him throughout the year with my busy schedule. I would call him, I would check up on him. How is he doing? Just in general, as a friend. He never done that on my side. Only on my birthday. And on my birthday, it was a rehearsed script from the previous year.
Gee.
So now I'm always on that, does my birthday really matter? No. And a lot of people can say, well, you can have the choice of making your birthday matter to you. And I'm like, that's true. I could do that. However, us as human beings, sometimes we do thrive of validation from other people. That's just human nature, no matter how you see it. That's literally, I'm like now, like, I don't care. It's my birthday, so what? It's not like anyone cares. It was just the day I was born. I'm going to get the same calls from the same people, the same message that I got last year. We're proud of you. We love what you're doing. You're a superstar. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Cool. Why can't you say that on any other day? Why is it so important that you have to say it on my birthday? And everyone decides to know you on your birthday. I literally, every time it's my birthday, I finna put my phone on flight mode. There's only few people that I accept birthday wishes from proper. And that's the people from my household, the family. My mom, my dad, Uhloni, Tatu, Rini, those people. Because those are the people who've always, been there every step of the way. Everybody else, it is what it is. That's why every year, when my birthday comes up, I'm like, even this year, I didn't know what I was going to do on my birthday. To be honest, I was actually kind of looking forward to just buying myself a new game and playing video games all day.
Did you do that?
I didn't. I got a girlfriend my ex-girlfriend's birthday was on the same day as my birthday. So we Forced that. My ex-girlfriend's birthday was on the same birthday as my birthday. So in a way, I was kind of forced to celebrate. But I wasn't like looking forward to it.
Yo,
It's deep, nah?
that's quite a topic.
Yeah. I don't have much time though.
Are we out of time?
But that's just like what I wanted to share and what I was bringing to the table in terms of why I feel like some people have birthday depression is because it's just the day where people feel phony and they want to wish you happy birthday, or it's a day that a lot of people didn't make it feel special for you in a way. But yeah.
I don't know that we'll have time for my response.
Do we have time for his response? How much time do we have? How much time?
Because they're putting me on the spot.
Maybe 2 minutes? You got 2 minutes? Yeah. Give it to us.
All right. Well. All right. So let's pretend, for example, this conversation was happening in a consult, in a Dramatech consult, right? And it was a professional psychological evaluation, feedback, response, whatever the right word is in the matrix, right? So at this point, from a self-reflective point of view, having spoken everything that you have, I would ask of you, what now? How can I help? What do you want? Yeah, what do you want?
Yeah, type of things.
From that, because essentially to put that out there, it's an incredibly raw and personal account of specific materials, so it's a very specific journey, but other people can relate within their own individual journeys.
Yeah.
So there's a thing there, right? Which means there's a problem, and we've identified it, and we've had the bravery enough to put it out there, to say, yo, because it has potential for extremities that are unnecessary, if we don't deal with them.
Yes.
So in dealing with them and in making sense of this space right now with the little time that we have, having reflected, which I commend, what do you want? Do you want to celebrate your birthdays? Do you want friends? Do you want a perspective? Having brought it to me as a G who's a little older than you.
As my mentor.
Right on. What
sir.
What do I do with this thing? My question is, do you want to celebrate your birthday next year?
Do I want to celebrate
Do you want
my
to celebrate
birthday?
your birthday at all? Does it matter? Is the question not about birthdays, but about meaning and fellowship and circles? Because also Joburg is a lonely space.
It is.
For the gentlemen that are all in this room here today, we all come from various places to be here. So it's difficult to do this, and sometimes you need spaces like this to be able to conjure up these conversations. So maybe, in a sense, we need platforms like this to say, yo, when I'm not okay, I talk about these things, or at least, I am not okay because of these things, and I am okay because of these things, so that we're at least putting the things out there, because somebody else says, I also feel that, and I deal with it this way, or I don't deal with that way, and you start the conversation, and within that conversation, it's not really about you, but about the community and the collective experience.
Yeah.
So the first step is done in that we've put it out there. Birthday depression. Do you suffer from birthday depression? Call us. We'll talk about it. Because it's a real thing, right? And we're not being funny. It's a real thing. But now we've put it out there, right? But it's not enough to say, I suffer this thing. What do you want
From it.
What do you want?
Yes.
Because if you can identify what you want, and it's also, I say to people, I would have said this to you as well at some point, it's okay not to know. It's okay to say, I don't know. Because that's the first point of reference. I don't know. Anything that comes after I don't know can only go up in terms of what you have, because now I know that. Now I know this. Now I know that I didn't know that. Now I know that I don't need that. Right? I'm going towards something.
Yeah.
But identifying what you want gives you then the placement to put it out there into this everything nothingness and to see if it will grow. Because how far is the divide between you and God? God's a creative. You're a creative. When you fall asleep, do you go to God or do you resume being God? Philosophically.
Yes. Not literally.
Because how can you be literally God?
Yes.
Right?
Thank you. You literally left me with that.
Make decisions, ultimately. Make
Yes.
decisions. I want to see this today. I want to see that today. And you put them out there. I want to see the most beautiful flower today. You're looking for it. And it won't only manifest as a flower. It might be an idea. It might be the sunshine on somebody's face. It might be conversation in the background.
That's happening right now. That could be the flower.
It could be the flower of my experience.
Thank you so much
Thanks
for
so much,
joining
man.
me. And what do you bring to the table?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Tubbs Mateli Tubbies, and I didn't do this alone. Anelisa Phewa, ladies and gentlemen.
Dramatic.
Now I'm saying, woo!
Thanks, guys.
You cannot find replacement types of statements I be making. Khuzuga monthly, daily funds, escaping, silent vacate. Pulling up funds and statements on the table, time to shake it. Who need a plan to make it? Hands are naked, I'm elated.